Imagine spending like $750,000 on software just so your customers can pick the fabric color of a sofa on your website.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds completely
It
insane.
really does. But in the hidden and honestly pretty chaotic world of Shopify product configurators, that actually happens every single day.
Oh, absolutely. Every day.
We are stepping into the murky, high-stakes mechanics of e-commerce customization today. So welcome to the deep dive.
That's a great topic.
Our mission for this session, we're decoding this incredibly costly and confusing landscape. Whether you are, an operator who just hit a massive technical wall with your storefront, or you're just fascinated by the invisible mechanics of online shopping. Our goal today is to save you from what could easily be a six-figure mistake.
Because the financial stakes are just staggering once you move past selling a basic off-the-shelf product.
Right.
E-commerce is fundamentally built on standardization. So the moment you introduce customization, allowing a buyer to tweak or build or personalize an item before they actually pay you, are breaking the standard data model of an online shopping cart.
You're throwing a wrench in the whole system.
Exactly. And the tools available to fix that model, well, they range from surprisingly powerful free features to some terrifyingly expensive custom software.
Which brings us to the source material we've got on the desk today. It's a really detailed 23-minute read titled Shopify Product Configurator, App or Custom Build.
It's a fantastic breakdown.
It really is. And it outlines this framework called the six-rung capability ladder. The premise is simple, but it's crucial.
Right. The biggest mistake store owners make is looking at their, highly unique product and immediately shopping for the absolute most complex, expensive technology available.
Like jumping straight to the top of the ladder.
Precisely. The actual objective is to find the absolute lowest, cheapest rung on that ladder that handles your specific product and then just cling to it for dear life.
Because every time you step up a rung, you're just multiplying your costs.
Oh, your costs and your technical debt. It just snowballs. So before you spend a dime, you have to audit what the platform gives you natively.
Okay, so let's start at Basecamp, the native tools.
Right. So Shopify natively allows a product to have up to 3 options. Your classic size, color, and material.
The basics.
Yeah. And as of October 2025, they significantly bumped up the variant ceiling. You can now generate up to 2,048 variants per product without paying a cent for third-party tools.
Okay, over 2,000 combinations sounds like plenty for most people, but the source points out there is a massive trap hidden in that update.
A huge trap.
That 2,048 number is a ceiling, right? It's not a promise.
Exactly. Because your real limit is always dictated by the weakest link in your tech stack.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Well, Shopify's core backend engine might support over 2,000 variants, sure, but your storefront, that's controlled by your theme.
Oh, okay.
And many third-party themes, along with various point-of-sale systems or marketplace integrations, they still operate on a hard cap of 100 variants.
So if I construct this incredibly complex 2,000 variant matrix in my backend, but my front-end theme just stops reading data after the 100th variant.
Your customers simply cannot buy those other combinations.
Wow.
Yeah, they'll click a button for, say, variant number 105, and nothing will happen.
It's kind of like buying a massive mansion,
Right.
But the driveway is only wide enough for a bicycle.
That is the perfect analogy.
You have all this capacity inside, but literally nobody can actually get to it. You can't just trust the platform's top-line marketing. You have to test the entire customer journey to see where the data gets choked out.
Which leads directly into how you handle data that just doesn't fit neatly into a variant matrix anyway.
Like what?
Like, say you want to offer a custom monogram, or let a buyer type in a personalized gift note.
Oh, right. You can't make a variant for every possible name in the dictionary.
Exactly. That would be impossible. So you use what are called line item properties. It's the second rung on the ladder.
And those are free.
Completely free. You basically attach a text field to the product, and whatever the customer types gets passed along as metadata attached to their cart line.
Nice.
Developers even use this really clever trick where they prefix the property name with an underscore.
What does that do?
It actually hides that specific data from the customer at checkout, which allows the system to pass internal tracking codes quietly.
But there's a glaring limitation with these line item properties, isn't there? I mean, they are strictly informational.
Very true.
What happens if I want to charge just $1 extra for that monogram engraving? Can I just flip a toggle in the setting?
Nope. The moment you do that, you fall completely off the native capability ladder.
Wait, really? Just for $1.
just for $1.
Yeah.
Because line item properties carry absolutely no price logic. None. The platform's native tools, they inform the warehouse, but they do not calculate math in the cart. The moment a custom text field or specific material choice needs to dynamically increase the price of the item, you are completely locked out of the free native tools.
That's crazy. Not even Shopify's own apps can handle it.
Not natively, no.
Yeah.
Even Shopify Bundles, their first-party app, has a hard limit. 3 options, 100 variants, and absolutely zero mix-and-match capability.
No subscriptions either, right?
No subscriptions either. The sheer need to charge an arbitrary customization fee forces you straight into the third-party app ecosystem.
Which introduces us to rung 3, the duct tape and workarounds.
Duct tape is definitely the right word for it.
Because Shopify has no native way to just command the checkout to, add a $5 fee to this item. So these configurator apps have to invent incredibly convoluted mechanics just to fake a price increase.
They really do.
Using these apps is like trying to upgrade a car's engine by bolting parts onto the hood. I mean, it might technically drive, but you're ruining the aerodynamics, and eventually a piece is just going to fly off and hit your windshield.
That's entirely accurate. The apps basically have to trick the checkout system.
How so?
Well, because there's no native primitive for just an arbitrary surcharge, the app has to create a priced thing to carry that extra money across the finish line.
Okay, so it makes a fake item.
Exactly. The oldest trick in the book is the hidden priced product.
Right, the ghost items.
Yep. The app generates a literal fake product in your back-end catalog. You might call it personalization fee, gives it a $5 price tag, hides it from your storefront search, and then uses custom code to secretly slip it into the user's cart alongside the main item.
Wait, so if I buy a watch with a $5 engraving, the app literally adds an invisible $5 ghost item to my cart just to make the math work.
Historically, yes. That's
Okay.
exactly how they did it.
That feels so fragile.
It was. And developers used to use these specific Ruby scripts to intercept the checkout and disguise these hidden items so, the customer wouldn't see some weird ghost product on their actual receipt.
But the source mentions something happened to those scripts.
Yeah, Shopify pulled the plug on those specific Ruby scripts on June 30th, 2026.
Oh, wow. Why?
Because allowing third-party code to just rewrite core checkout logic on the fly, it was a massive security and performance vulnerability for a platform processing billions of dollars.
That makes sense.
So that older workaround is essentially dead,
Oh.
or at least highly visible and clunky now, unless you're paying for their absolute top enterprise tier, Shopify Plus.
So what are normal non-enterprise stores doing now if the ghost products are dead?
Now, they often rely on draft orders.
How does that work?
Well, when the customer hits add to cart, the app essentially intercepts that click. Instead of sending the item to the normal cart, the app spins up a completely separate secondary custom invoice in the background. It applies the custom pricing to this shadow invoice.
Yeah.
And then pushes the customer directly to it.
But intercepting the normal cart flow, that has to break things down the line, right? What happens to the fast checkout buttons?
Oh, it completely shatters them.
Seriously?
Yeah. Apple Pay, Shop Pay, PayPal. These accelerated payment gateways rely on the native cart structure. Because the draft order hasn't been fully finalized until you hit that final screen, those express buttons often just disappear, or they fail to load on the initial cart page.
So you are actively sacrificing your conversion speed, making it literally harder for people to give you money just to apply a custom price.
Yes. You're trading checkout friction for configuration.
There has to be a modern way to do this that doesn't involve shadow invoices or breaking Apple Pay.
There is, sort of. The modern approach uses the cart transform function. It's part of Shopify's newer functions architecture.
Okay, this sounds better.
It is. It merges the base product and its customized surcharge into one clean line item at checkout without relying on those hidden ghost products. It's significantly more stable.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
Of course. If you want to use this function to completely override a price, rather than just bundling items, you generally still need to be on Shopify Plus.
Back to the enterprise tier.
Right. And it frequently gets rejected on subscription items. Plus, it has incredibly spotty support if you try to use it on physical point-of-sale hardware in a retail store.
So every single app is basically pulling a magic trick to get an extra few bucks into the cart, and every trick has a catastrophic fail state.
Pretty much.
And we haven't even touched on how these apps market themselves. I was looking at the breakdown of a 3D configurator app mentioned in the source called Mimic. In the App Store, the main card literally says, free to install.
Oh yeah, Free to install is probably the most dangerous phrase in the entire Shopify ecosystem.
Why is that?
It simply means it costs nothing to inject their code into your theme. But when you trace the actual pricing model back to Mimi's own website, the reality is very different.
What's the real cost?
You're looking at a monthly fee ranging roughly from $599 to $2,499, plus a per-sale transaction fee that approaches 2%.
That is insane. The operational cost of these acts can easily rival the rent on a physical storefront.
Easily.
And for that price, you'd expect, I don't know, bulletproof software. But the analysis points out something called string-fragile conditional logic.
Yes, this is a major issue.
Are you telling me that if I set up a rule for a custom shoe and someone types the word blue with a capital B instead of a lowercase b, the entire app logic can just silently break?
That is exactly how many of these front-end apps function, unfortunately.
You're kidding.
I wish I was. Instead of relying on robust, immutable back-end IDs, they rely on exact character-for-character string matching in the web browser. This is how they decide whether to show or hide the next customization option.
So a stray capital letter.
Or an accidental space after word, or even just a slight change to a product title. If any of that happens, the logic simply stops firing.
Does the customer get an error?
Nope. The customer doesn't see a flashing red error code. They just don't see the options they're supposed to see, so they assume the product is out of stock, and they leave.
Okay, so if the apps are basically held together by chewing gum, breaking PayPal, and crashing over a capital letter, at what point do you just hire an engineer to build a bespoke system?
That's the logical next step on the ladder, rung 4.
Right, because Shopify is a multi-billion-dollar platform. Surely building a custom feature on top of it shouldn't cost the price of a house.
You would assume a custom build is just a matter of hiring a developer for a few weeks, right? But the price spread for custom configurators is staggering.
Give me some numbers.
On the low end, you might get an agency like Shop Experts quoting $3,000 to $15,000 for a relatively simple feature.
Okay, that's not terrible.
No, it's maybe 50 hours of work layering some custom JavaScript over your existing theme. But when you look at ground-up, platform-agnostic custom builds from specialized vendors, the quotes routinely range from $300,000 to over $750,000.
$750,000 just to let someone customize a sofa online.
I know, it sounds unbelievable.
I mean, I know some of these quotes come from app vendors like Kickflip, who obviously have a vested interest in making custom builds look terrifyingly expensive, so you just rent their software instead.
True. There's definitely a bias there.
But even factoring in that bias, how does the math ever reach that high? What are you actually paying for?
It all comes down to the pricing engine.
Not the visuals.
No, building the front-end interface, the pretty 3D models and color swatches the customer clicks, that's a known quantity. The astronomical cost comes from building a bespoke pricing engine.
Okay, why is that so hard?
Because it has to take highly variable, constantly shifting configurations and calculate a real-time price, without just relying on a simple spreadsheet lookup. To process complex algorithms, say, calculating the exact square footage of a custom-cut rug based on user inputs, you have to escape the limitations of Shopify's standard themes.
Because their themes use Liquid, right? And Liquid is just a templating language. It's designed to display data, not run heavy mathematical algorithms on the fly.
Exactly. So to get that processing power, developers have to build what's called a headless stack.
Like Hydrogen.
Yes, using a framework like Hydrogen. You are no longer just tweaking a Shopify theme. You are building a completely independent, custom application that lives on its own servers and simply uses APIs to talk to Shopify's checkout.
Wait, so you're paying to host, secure, and maintain your own infrastructure? Doesn't that entirely defeat the purpose of paying Shopify a monthly fee to handle your hosting in the first place?
It absolutely does. Which brings us to the most dangerous part of a custom build, the quiet cost of maintenance.
Let's talk about that. Because software is never just done, is it?
Never. And Shopify does not sit still. They update their core APIs, the underlying code that lets your headless application talk to their checkout. They update those every 3 months.
Every 3 months.
Yep. If you build a highly complex custom pricing engine, it is permanently tethered to a specific API version. If you do not have an active developer tracking Shopify's change logs and updating your custom code base 4 times a year, your configurator will eventually just drift out of support.
And what happens then?
When an old API is deprecated, it breaks quietly. No alarms go off. Customers just hit the checkout button and nothing happens.
So when you are modeling the financial impact, you aren't just comparing the upfront build quote against an app's monthly subscription fee.
Not at all.
You have to compare the build quote plus a perpetual monthly retainer for a developer just to keep the lights on.
Let's look at the actual break-even math from the source, because it's fascinating.
Okay, lay it on me.
Take a store generating $8,000 a month in sales from configured products. If they use a premium tier app, say Zeek's Grow tier, they pay a flat fee plus a 1.7% transaction fee. All in, that costs the store about $266 a month.
All right, so $266 a month.
Right. Over 2 years, the total cost of ownership is roughly $6,400.
Okay, and what if they try to save money by commissioning a relatively cheap $12,000 custom build?
Well, they assume that after 2 years, they'll own the software outright,
Yeah.
and the monthly fees just vanish. But they forget the maintenance.
Quiet cost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you pay a highly conservative $300 a month retainer to keep your custom API connections updated, your 2-year cost for the custom build balloons to $19,200.
Wow.
Yeah. At $8,000 a month in sales, the break-even lines literally never cross. The app is always cheaper.
Building a custom configurator just to avoid monthly app fees is it's like buying a dairy farm just to save money on milk. The overhead will completely destroy you.
That is exactly it. You never, ever build a custom configurator to save money.
Then when do you build one?
You only commission custom software if you need absolute control over the user interface, if you have a proprietary pricing algorithm that an off-the-shelf app physically cannot compute, or if you need to generate a highly specific manufacturing spec for a factory floor.
Okay, let's follow that exact thread, the factory floor. Because this deep dive isn't over when the customer successfully navigates the duct tape and clicks buy.
No, that's just the beginning.
Right. The digital cart has to become physical fulfillment. And this operational phase is where businesses actually bleed money.
The first operational hurdle is the sheer volume of data you are suddenly generating.
Because of the variance.
Yeah. If you have a rich configurator with dozens of components, you quickly generate hundreds of thousands of potential variants in your backend.
Which hits a wall eventually.
It does.
Yes.
Once a store hits 500,000 variants, Shopify throws the brakes on. They actively throttle your ability to do bulk product uploads. They limit you to 1,000 new variants a day unless you upgrade to Shopify Plus.
So your merchandising team can suddenly find themselves completely locked out of updating the catalog.
Basically, yes.
But catalog throttling isn't even what gave me anxiety reading this. It was the order export blind spot.
This is a nightmare for operations.
We talked earlier about capturing engraving text using line item properties on the lowest rung of the ladder, right?
Yep, the free text fields.
And the platform will helpfully print that custom text into the confirmation email sent to the buyer. But what happens when the warehouse goes to print their daily fulfillment reports?
This is the crazy part. Shopify does not automatically map those line item properties into the standard CSV order export that your operations team downloads from the admin panel.
Wait, why not?
Because those properties are essentially front-end cart metadata. So they get passed to the notification mailer, sure, but they completely bypass the standardized accounting columns in the CSV.
So a listener could sell 1,000 custom engraved, really expensive watches, and when the warehouse worker prints the daily CSV packing list and just stares at the paper, it just says watch.
Just watch.
There are absolutely no engraving instructions attached to the fulfillment document.
None. It happens constantly. The operations team prints the standard pick list, the personalization data simply isn't there, and they accidentally ship a blank product.
That is terrifying.
It's why you have to physically test the entire spec-to-shop floor path before you ever launch a configurator. You must place a test order, look at the confirmation email, examine the packing slip generated by your specific fulfillment software, and open the raw CSV export.
You have to trace it all the way down.
Yes. If the engraving text is missing from the specific screen your workshop looks at, you have a broken supply chain. And a spec that never reaches the workbench results in a guaranteed refund.
Speaking of refunds, what happens when someone decides they just don't like their custom engraved watch? I mean, you can't exactly put a watch that says, "Happy 50th, Bob," back on the shelf and sell it to Steve.
No, you can't. You have to aggressively protect your margins using Shopify's native return rules.
Right.
You can mark specific personalized products or even entire collections as final sale.
And that stops the returns.
It automatically blocks customers from submitting return and cancellation requests through the native self-serve portals.
But there is a massive psychological component to this, isn't there? You can't just hide that final sale policy on a slip of paper inside the shipping box, or bury it in a terms of service link at the footer of your website.
Absolutely not. It will ruin your customer experience.
The strategy outlined here is to put those final sale terms directly into the product copy right next to the customization buttons before they start configuring.
It makes a huge difference. Consumers are far more accepting of a strict, no returns policy when they acknowledge it as part of the bespoke creation process, rather than feeling trapped by it after the fact. Managing expectations is really the core of customized e-commerce. And honestly, sometimes managing those expectations means looking at your business and deciding not to build a configurator at all.
The source lists 4 massive red flags for this.
There's 4 flags that should tell you to just walk away. First is low volume.
Makes sense.
If your custom product sales can't even cover the cost of a basic 50. Second is genuinely simple needs. If you just need one line of text for a gift note, use the free line item properties with the underscore trick. Stop paying for massive 3D rendering capabilities you aren't actually using.
Right, don't overcomplicate it. And the third?
Third is lack of technical support. If you commission a headless custom build, launch it, and immediately fire the development agency to save money, your checkout will inevitably break when the next API update rolls out.
The quiet cost strikes again.
Exactly. And the fourth red flag is unproven demand. Please do not spend $20,000 building a seamless 3D interface for a feature nobody has actually asked for yet.
There's a brilliant alternative strategy mentioned for made-to-order goods in this exact scenario.
Taking deposits.
Yes. Instead of building a massive configurator that calculates a final price up front, just take a flat deposit. Prove that people actually want the custom item by taking a $100 down payment and manually email them the customization options later.
It's so smart. Prove the demand before you build the infrastructure. When you synthesize all of this, the mandate for you, the listener, is pretty clear. Start your customization journey on the absolute lowest rung possible. Prove your market demand by enduring the duct tape of a cheap app first.
Right. Cling to it.
Yeah. You only assume the immense financial and technical burden of a custom build for total interface control, complex real-time math, or exact manufacturing outputs. You never pursue a custom build just to avoid a monthly software fee, because those quiet costs of maintenance will always eat your margins alive.
It is a vital reality check. But as we wrap up, there's a lingering question that really builds on everything we've unpacked today.
What's that?
Well, we know Shopify is aggressively updating its APIs every 90 days, and we know they are actively shutting down old app workarounds like those Ruby scripts, citing security and performance.
Right.
If the platform keeps expanding what its core engine can handle natively, like bumping the limit up to 2048 variants, how long will it be until Shopify simply absorbs all this configurator technology directly into its base code?
That is the big question.
I mean, are we looking at a near future where both these fragile string matching apps and these 6-figure headless builds just become entirely extinct, replaced by a simple native toggle switch?
It is the existential threat hanging over the entire third-party ecosystem right now. Platforms naturally commoditize their most popular edge cases over time. Staying agile, minimizing your technical debt, and just not over-investing in custom architecture until absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
That is the only way to survive that shift.
Such a great point. So before you go off and launch your next big product idea, go check your theme's variant limits. Because that frictionless magic we all expect on the storefront is really just a chaotic assembly line behind the scenes.
It really is.
And whether your line is running smoothly or held together by duct tape and hidden ghost products, it's entirely up to which rung on the ladder you choose to stand on. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.